Welcome, you guys, to Make Love Not War, the passion project that seeks to help angry wives and their spouses, turning hate back to where it came from, love. Today, we have with us two very special guests. The first one is Marion Ross. She is a PhD in holistic healing and transpersonal psychology, and she is certified in body-mind medicine. And she is, together with Dr. Tracy Latz, the co-founder of Shift Your Life. And she's the author of Entrepreneurial Alignment, a book that I like very much, helping to overcome self-sabotage in business. And she is the co-author, together with Dr. Tracy Latz, of three amazing books. The first one is called Shift, A Woman's Guide to Transforming Your Life, and Shift 12 Keys to Transforming Your Life. And last but not least, Bye-Bye Self-Sabotage, Drop Your Baggage and Love Your Life. I am loving the title of that book. Can't wait to read it. Welcome to the show, Marion and Tracy. Great to have you.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Amanda. It's been great.
Thank you. Now, I'm dying to hear both your stories, but I want to start with Dr. Marion Ross, because I know her story, and I'd love to hear it again. How did you get into this line of work?
Well, I got into it through a succession of other lines of work, which I always say, you have more than one passion in life. So I started out in business. Actually, I started out in banking, and then I set up a company when I was about 26, doing consulting, and I knew nothing about what I was doing. If I could go through graduate school, I could set up a company, and it became very successful. And I started doing a lot of licensing, and I licensed for trademarks and patents and designers like Michael Kors and Spree. Anyway, around the age of 46 or 47, all I did was work. I used to work at least 6 days a week, 15, 16 hours a day, and I took great vacations. Everyone said I had the best life in the world, and I felt really empty. And I had a lot of physical issues with, shoulder pain and knee pain. And the bottom line, to make this a very short story, is that my body loved me so much, it was telling me I better do something different. I better slow down. So I went to a healer who was a former banker, and he said, you're so numb, you don't feel any of your emotions, so they're expressing in your body. And I said, thank you for your opinion, and we figured out that he was right, and that I was so numb. This comes right into, make love, not war.
Yeah.
Numb, you're just burying all your feelings and you're not allowing yourself to express anything. So you become like a thunderstorm. If everything, all your feelings build and build and build. And at a very inappropriate moment in a relationship, you just explode. And so I got tired of exploding and being empty, and I started studying at an ancient mystery school. I wanted to know how I could be healed and how to heal others. And that's where I met Tracy.
Yeah, and Tracy, how did you get into this? Did you have a similar story?
Well, I'm a physician. I had already had an interest in helping people. I'm an integrative psychiatrist. But after I'd been practicing for 5 years, and I had done a lot of psychotherapy training along with that, I really wanted to understand dynamics of relationships as well as the medicine. And I was a cell biologist before doing that. So I had a lot of compassion, and I was very intuitive my whole life. But I began to experience a lot of stress in my relationship with my husband. We had been married for probably about 18 to 19 years, and I found out he'd been seeing someone else on the side, and there was a lot of stuff going on, and there was a lot of stress with work and dealing with patients. And then I went for a mammogram, and suddenly, out of the blue, I had had perfect mammograms, and it showed that there were multiple calcifications in my left breast, nothing like it before, no history of fibrocystic breast disease, and they said, this doesn't look good. And that maybe, we could biopsy, but to do biopsies of all of them would be so disfiguring that you would just take the breast would be the best thing. And my husband was like, take the breast, we're just going to take it. And I was sort of, my children were quite young. I had gotten home. And after that, I told my OBGYN and two radiologists who had met with us, I said, I want to think about this. You know, this is a big decision. I went home. My kids were asleep. My husband had fallen asleep. I was laying in bed like, tears, you know, just sort of thinking. I wanted to be around when my kids graduated. And all of a sudden I got very quiet and heard, do something different.
You heard a voice.
Yes. Not a hallucinating voice. I treat people for that. But really that inner still small voice. I've always sort of meditated, but this really pushed me much more quickly on a path. And I said, I want to wait. I want to begin to work on myself and have not just compassion for others, because I was doing for patients, doing for my husband and my kids, and throwing my own self under the bus. So I knew I needed to balance out that love and compassion for myself as well. And I began to study at Delphi at an ancient mystery school. And was slowly going through that process, but also working on healing meditation for myself. I was doing visualization. I was taking my own self-healing journey and compassion to a whole different level, including myself. And it really profoundly changed my feelings and my relationship, as well as my relationship to my own self, and having more compassion for my kids. And after 6 weeks, they rechecked me and said, nothing's different, nothing's worse. My OBGYN was nervous because our kids were growing up together and we had professionally interacted a lot. And essentially he was nervous that I said, I want to wait 6 more weeks and recheck. And when we rechecked, he said, I don't know how to tell you this. And I knew. I said, you don't have to tell me. And he goes, no, you don't understand. I said, yes, I think I do. And he said, yeah, it's gone. It's perfectly normal, like all your very old mammograms. And he said, I don't know how to tell you how it happened. I said, that's okay. I know how it happened. And it really profoundly changed my life.
So when we got together and started Shift Your Life, we knew from experience that you can heal yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, because we'd both done it. We've both been on the journey and had tough times and woke up, but it's a process. So any angry wife, any angry husband can come to a state where they realize, I need to create from this present moment and not all the garbage, all the trash that has happened before, and not all the anticipatory anxiety that I have about going into the future. So that's the bottom line, is to learn to be present in the moment and not take anything personally, because you're on your own journey. It doesn't matter what other people think. It's their opinion. Thank them for their opinion. But it's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them.
Well, also realizing you can't change anyone else.
Okay, what? Sorry?
You can't change anyone else. All you can do is change your perception and your being present in the moment and you being in your heart. And when you are in your heart and you expand that heart in a place of compassion, these warring relationships begin to smooth out, because you realize it's not about being right. I've got to be right, you know, and that's where we get into such trouble is, you know, we come in, especially in relationships like marriages, where you start feeling like I'm in a marriage and I'm like trapped in it now because we went through the ceremony, and we can walk in with this vision of it's not necessarily about being right, it's about making it right and about having compassion, even if it gets to a point where you're like, this isn't working out, where you work with that in a compassionate stance, which helps children, relationships with that. It just makes discussions become discussions and not screaming arguments.
Well, you know, you don't have to play roles. And this is something that we expect. We have business partnerships. We have, you know, you have partnerships with everyone as you go through life. Everything in any relationship is sort of a partnership in some sense. And you don't have to play a typical role. You can create that role and find what works for you. And when you're angry and stuffed with all kinds of emotions from childhood and start exploding, you know there's a problem. And your partner knows there's a problem. And your partner shouldn't take it seriously. And we have a technique in our books called the cucaracha technique.
The cucaracha? Tell us about that.
And it's very helpful and it's very quick.
Well, this is helpful when neither one of you have learned tools yet to really be in your heart with compassion. With the La Cucaracha technique, that means the cockroach. And what you do is you look at the other person as if they're a cockroach or an ant or an insect. So you don't take cockroaches personally. You may be upset they're in your house.
You know, they walk around at night, you know, they come out, they have their little antenna.
And you turn on the light and they run away. And you don't go, why aren't they staying out? Why aren't they out when I turn the light on?
Because that's their level of consciousness. They do like ants go in a little row and follow each other. They don't think about it, they just do it. And that's what we are when we're reactive instead of proactive in our thinking. So tell me about the cockroach, Tracy. What do you tell your patients?
Well, what you do is you look at the person when you're so overwhelmed and upset and you're not able to center yourself in the moment. And we do have tools for centering. When I don't want you to think this is kind of where we go. But what you do is you look at the person as if they're this giant cockroach, little antennae kind of going, and the little 6 legs and arms, kind of, you know, and what you do is when you see that, you actually become amused. And so you have a hard time almost not laughing, but you just sort of realize they, in that moment, just like when we are so overwhelmed with anger with somebody, we sort of go a little crazy in that moment. We are so wrapped up in being righteous in our anger that there's not much when someone is not awake and aware that you can do about it. You just realize they're in that consciousness. Now, we have other tools.
Yeah, so you don't want to respond to them. That's the whole point. You want to have a sense of humor.
And no matter what you say, it's not going to work.
And remove yourself. We have a zillion tools for anger release. One is a great Qigong one where you imagine you're grabbing energy from the earth, pulling it up, and then you're releasing it with a sound like, shoo!
Okay.
And if you're angry about something, so you're standing up.
Yes, that's the
like
right
this. You're standing up, you're grabbing the energy from the ground. With a big inhale.
Yes,
You're thinking about whatever it is that you're angry about, and you're releasing it with a.
Oh, okay.
5 or 6 times, and it really, you know, we hold all this tension in our bodies, and emotions and feelings are energy.
And kids love that technique.
Their
you know,
energy.
how to deal with their anger. I'm so angry at my parents, and I'll have them in my office. I'll say, try this. And they're like, I love it, you know, and they I say, get as angry as you can. Think of all the anger as you pull it up all the way out of your feet, out of the ground, and then.
That's great, because it's more passive than like boxing. It's better.
Yeah, but you need to, you know, it's in your physical body, so you need to release it. And then there's the Darth Vader breath, but we're not going to go into that.
Luke, I am your father.
Inhale all that anger.
It would definitely stop the arguing, I think, if you start doing Darth Vader.
Especially for kids and men. Women prefer there's ceremonial anger release, where you write down what you're angry about, you squish it into a little ball, and you burn it in the barbecue or wherever. A bonfire. And of course, we have zillions of meditations. We can't go into that now because we have a very short amount of time.
One of our favorite meditations for getting centered in the moment when you know I have to have a hard talk with this person and they're likely to react and maybe be angry is something called the Loving Compassionate Benefactor meditation. It also is something that if you practice regularly, it really can help with your own spiritual, emotional development over the long haul. And we actually have that as one of our bonus offers where
actually our bonus offers cover what you need.
Yeah, I remember that. And you can tell the audience, stay tuned, because at the end of this, there really is a special offer. It's not just a special offer, but it's especially for the Make Love Not War listeners. So it is special. So stay tuned. We'll talk about it in about 10 minutes. We'll get into that. To stay.
You can't make love not war unless you love yourself. So the first thing you need to do is step into self-love. So
self-practice, nothing to do with your partner. Get into it yourself.
Nothing to do with your partner, and you need to get centered every day. You need to be in your own heart. So how do you do that? We give tools and techniques for how to do that because it's a practice.
The beauty of getting into your heart and expanding it in the loving, compassionate benefactor meditation does that, and people experience it within seconds. You know, no more than a minute does it take to get into your heart with that. And what it does is it stops that angry self. It stops the fearful self, the controlling self. And that's where so many people go when they're really making war, is they want to control and they want to get the power in it. And the trouble is when people think, I want to win this, I want to win it, it means somebody's got to lose it, which means you both lose in a relationship. So when you can get centered in your heart, you actually come from a stance of an awareness that I have compassion for you, yet I also have compassion for me. So where can we meet? I can now talk not from that space of being out of my mind temporarily. I can speak from a place of my heart connecting with your heart. And when you talk about having a heart-to-heart conversation, the only way to do that is when both people are in their heart. I can't make the other person be in their heart, but I can come ready in mine. And if I walk into a room or a space in my heart, then I'm not walking in with the supposition as soon as I walk through the door, oh, this is going to be a terrible experience.
Yeah.
And it is a terrible experience.
Right.
So when you come in not bringing that baggage with you, you can let that stay at the door. And you can, if both people are willing to learn a few quick tools, you can both have much more compassionate discussions with self, more compassionate parenting.
Where you can hear, because you can't hear when you're angry. You can't listen. You can just blah, blah, blah. There's another great physical tool. If two people are fighting, say stop. And then let me show you. Turn around. This is called, this is clearing all the lymph. But it feels so good that people are happy at the end of it.
Yeah.
So you take your two thumbs on your partner, you tell them to turn around, and you massage deeply with your thumbs on either side of the spine. And they become like cats or puppy dogs. And it changes, you know, you got to do something different. And you go all the way down the spine, and then you want to do crossovers. So you take one hand on the right side of the shoulder and go all the way down to the left.
Okay.
You go all the way down to the right. You do that about 10 times. Why is that important? Because when people are really angry, their energies go backwards, so they're not thinking. They're in fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, all of your blood is going to your extremities. It's not going to your prefrontal cortex where you can think. So you become 80% dumber and aggressive. It's like you're thinking the saber-toothed tiger is coming to bite you.
Yeah,
So
you go back to...
You calm down the nervous system, and it helps. And it helps break patterns. Another crazy thing, if people are fighting, you say stop. You say, and you have this sort of code. When we're in the middle of a fight, we're going to do this. Here's the word.
Black umbrella.
Black umbrella. And then you both take a bath together, or one gets in the bath or the other strips naked. Just whatever it is, it's something that's so different that it breaks the pattern and makes you laugh, so you don't take anything personally. So there are a lot of crazy things that really work, because it's about when we're consistently angry, our brain is wired that way. When we have this kind of stimulus, we have this kind of response. So now when you have this stimulus, you want to cut that stimulus with a different response. So your neurons wire together in a different way, because when you have the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same emotions, the same actions, you're going to keep wiring the same way, and neurons that wire together fire together.
We are creatures of habit, and only with practice on a regular basis can you rewire your practice in your brain and get into a new pattern.
So to do that, you need to have an elevated emotion. So the elevated emotion we want to have isn't anger or resentment. It's love and fun and something wacky, you know? It's something that it's going to give us pleasure. So we're not going to rewire that anger. We're going to rewire pleasure instead of anger. So it's changing the way we can think. So we can rewire normal patterns. But at least it's helping break that neural net. You understand that?
I do.
It sounds a little crazy.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Not at all. It's just in the moment, when you're in that moment and you make that mistake again and you think, why can't I break free of that?
You can.
Yeah, you
can. Creative.
You have to be creative.
Just a creative tool. Run in the bathroom, take your clothes off, get in the bath, have someone give you a massage, whatever it is.
Whatever it takes.
In one of the chapters in our Bye Bye Self-Sabotage book, we actually talk to people about their reactive shadow character selves. And with that, we have people and couples that's great to do with. I've done a lot of work with folks with this, where you write down what your last two sort of arguments were about. And it's not really about what it's about. You actually write it down as if it's a screenplay. They came in and they made some snarky comment about, oh, you're wearing that again. And then you said this, and this is my feeling, and this is what they said or did, then this, then that. And then you sit down and you say, what reactive self were they in? Was it controlling self? And then how did I respond? I went to anger, and then they went to guilt, and then I went to fear, or, and when you map that out a couple of times, you actually become aware that you're always doing the tango with that person, and you may, with your boss or some other significant person in your life, do the waltz. Mm-hmm. And once you're aware, wow, I always go to this reactive self with this person, you can transform that. And we go through a meditation in our books where we show people how to release that. And it helps to be aware of the pattern, because you walk in already aware, which means I'm less likely to do that thing.
What we have to remember is we all create our own movies. We all create our own scenes. And I mean, if two people are watching the same movie, they have two different opinions of it, and they think that their characters are totally different. So we create the script for our own movie with each person and what role they're playing. The problem is that person doesn't know what our expectations are, because we never talk about our expectations. And what is anger? People are angry because we're not fulfilling their expectations when we don't even know what their expectations are, because no one talks about it. So to be angry, there are only two real reasons to be angry. If someone punches us in the nose for no reason, or they make
breaking a vow or a promise. And we all are guilty at times of saying, "No, I'm so mad at you because you didn't call me at this time." Well, did I say I was going to call you at that time? Did we have a plan and a promise that I would do that? Well, no, I just assumed you would, because usually on Wednesdays you do, but we didn't actually have a contract for that. So but we will start assuming things and then take it personally that this didn't happen, and it can really build up the anger and resentment. Or when people first get together, and this is a common issue with relationships, people will come together and there is either a verbally expressed contract of this is what I want with this relationship and this is what I want, but many times there isn't. There's just expectations. Maybe 10 years ago we got together because I felt, afraid in the world. I was unsure of myself. You're very sure, so you took control. I really like that. But now we've been in a relationship for 10 years and I've grown a lot, and now I want to have equal say, but that wasn't part of our unspoken idea of what this relationship was about. So now I begin to change and my needs change, and I want to rewrite the contract, but we're not talking about it. So, it helps sometimes to sort of really look back what we walked into this relationship thinking we wanted out of it, and how have we evolved, and we need to rewrite that contract or update it. Which is a beautiful thing when people are mindful about it. When you're not so mindful, it becomes anger and resentment. You're changed. You're not the same person I met. And the issue is, I hope not. We're all different. Hopefully we're all evolving over time. That means we're growing as people.
But I mean, any good relationship are two people, or how many ever people there are in the relationship, wanting to help develop the best in each other. It's not
Yeah.
about holding them back. It's about helping them develop in every way possible. In nurturing. And how many people understand the word nurturing? You think it's a female thing. Well, it's a male thing too. Because we're all divine males and females within our own bodies and souls. So this is another thing we need to be mindful of and develop. And that's a whole subject unto itself.
Could you quickly explain nurturing, just briefly, if it's possible?
Yeah, nurturing.
Nurturing. Nurturance is about having compassion for what I need, as well as compassion for your spouse or your significant other. And therefore, you take time to take care of yourself. You have to look at physically, what do I need? Am I taking care of myself? Nutrition, exercise. Am I taking care of myself emotionally? Am I de-stressing? Am I doing what I need to not bottle things up? Am I taking care of myself spiritually? You know, what makes my heart sing? Am I pursuing relaxation, activities and things that I feel purposeful about?
Am I encouraging my partner to do that? The other thing is listening. Listening is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
We all think we're listening, but we're all creating our next sentence to respond to what the person's talking about before we even hear the end of the story.
So we have a story, and no matter what I say, he's going to tell that story, which is the opposite.
So you've got to get into your story and start understanding you, which means you have to learn to listen. And it takes time to learn to listen. It's an art. I mean, psychiatrists go to school for years, psychologists go to school for years to understand how to listen and to stay focused on someone else other than yourself, having a blank mind yourself, which means, A, you have to learn to get out of your own chatter. That's the first way to nurture. We have what's called the over energy correction. It's on our Shift Your Life TV site. We have videos on it.
We also teach a 5-week course.
We teach a 5-week course, which we'll talk about at the end. And we're teaching in California something called 1440 in March, and we'll be doing 5 days of teaching those techniques. So the first thing you need to do is get out of your mind chatter, because your mind chatter runs your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you think or what you want to run your life. It's that chatter in your mind. So you need to quiet it, because you can't listen to yourself. You're in a still small voice, and you can't listen to anyone else if you're filled with mind chatter. So learn to cut the mind chatter. Then learn to be present to listen to someone else. And this was always my problem. I'm finishing everyone's sentences because I think I know what they're going to say because I'm smarter than everyone else. You have to trash that. It's not easy. I mean, it takes a lot of practice. And it comes back all the time. But it's so important to do.
When you stop the mind chatter, you're not only able to listen to someone else, you're able to really sit within your own self and listen to your own soul, not the ego. The ego is what goes on in the head. What comes from the heart when you go into that still small space of meditation, you actually hear what your soul knows.
So that's how to get into your intuition. So we have courses on intuition too.
Yeah, that's another.
Be able to access it because we are all intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to remember how to do that. And it's easy to learn. You have to clear the garbage first.
Yeah. So takeaways: don't have any expectation on your spouse's behalf. Drop that altogether. Go in with an open mind. Whatever happens, happens, and let go of the mind chatter in your head.
Right, but there's something very essential is when you have the conversation, don't do it when you're angry. Do it when you're in your heart and heartfelt. Because the other person feels it. Your heart has a field of 30 feet. So wherever we are, we're all connected. And when you walk into a room, you can feel the energy of everyone else, consciously or subconsciously. So when you're in your heart and having a conversation, people are more open to receive the information. When you're angry, you just put up that steel wall.
You actually have a high risk of creating everyone in the room angry. If you walk into the room with this angry,
it's like you have these energies
slamming things around
coming out.
It's just,
So remember, we are energetic beings, and we do affect each other's feelings tremendously. Like if I was really angry and Tracy was sitting next to me and she felt this angry energy, she'd probably punch me in the nose.
Well, I wouldn't. But,
Energetically.
but if you stop it, when you really, really realize, when you're sleepwalking through life, other people can, quote, make you angry.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're much more awake and aware, you realize nobody makes me angry. I choose to be angry. And it really is a choice once you are aware that you actually have a choice and you stop doing these reactive dances that are just your habits and your patterns based on old relationships, old experiences, and even childhood.
You need to have an open heart, but at the same time shield it and not so that it's not open.
You don't want to shield your heart, but you don't want to have conversations with people who are angry.
No, exactly.
You walk away. You say stop.
Yeah.
We have tools
Sorry.
where you protect your energy, not shield it,
Not
but
shield.
create energetically where someone doesn't come in with this power and control to be the energy vampire.
We have a bunch of techniques called the zip up, and then we have a bunch of qigong techniques which protect you. If you're having a conversation with someone who's angry, there are 2 or 3 techniques that very quickly protect your energy.
I find when you're in a very loving moment, that's also where you can be hurt the most. That you're really feeling the love to your husband, and something happens, and then it has a negative in front of it. And the love just turns into the same amount of hurt and hate that you just felt.
What's your expectation if you're in a loving moment? Are you not getting your expectations met?
Something like that.
Yeah, so you have a right to have those expectations if there's been no communication and they haven't promised you something?
It's more about feeling, I just felt a lot of love and now I just feel all this hate and all this hurt.
Well,
but of course,
it's probably coming from within yourself.
Exactly. You just need to see that quickly.
So the first thing you have to do is examine where it's coming from. What's that old pattern?
Well, it's an issue of realizing I can't make them change. I can come and be in my heart. I can't make them be in their heart. But if I'm actually with compassion for myself, as well as for them, if they continue to be harsh, you can just remove yourself and just sort of say, we need 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 hours, 5 years, whatever, to sort of step back and just breathe, get centered so we can come back and not be boring, but we can come and actually be creative in creating solutions. When we're warring, there is no solution. It's about, I want to be right and I'm going to quash you till you understand that you're wrong.
I'm going to win.
And that's a lose-lose.
Take no prisoners.
Exactly. So for 5 weeks, let's talk about it now. Your 5-week awakening course. It's called
Awakening Awareness course.
Awakening Awareness.
It's amazing. It's about self-transformation. It's about being mindful and being able to understand how to create in the moment, how to cut all the chatter, and how to move forward in your life, creating from your heart and creating from your own desires.
You start with understanding your current pattern. In the first week, you really understand what are my go-to thoughts? What are my thoughts when my day is wonderful and I feel like I was in the flow of the moment? And what were my thoughts when I was angry and got into warring with people? And you begin to understand how it affects you physically, emotionally, spiritually, and connectedness with others, in your loving relationships, or if they're not so loving. And once you understand that, we begin to give you tools to be more and more mindful and to get into your heart and how to walk more and more in your life from a place of compassion and awareness and connectedness. And we help people understand some of the basics of meditation. So it's pretty cool. We've had some amazing experiences with people going through that.
Yeah, either they divorced their partners or they got much closer. But I mean, in 5 weeks, they understood that you can't create for anyone else. But when they decided they wanted to create differently for themselves, they started making different choices.
The importance is if someone decides in a relationship after understanding those concepts, they decide I need to end this relationship or take a break. It's not out of I'm warring and I'm so angry. It's out of I have compassion for me and or my children to say, I can lovingly step back and say, I wish you the best, but I can't be in an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it's also brought a lot of couples much closer together.
When couples do it together, wow, it profoundly changes because both become aware of patterns, both learn to get into heart, and it creates a much more loving, compassionate relationship, more compassionate parenting. The energy of the house just completely changes.
When you understand you're an energetic being and can get rid of your anger, this is a physical, emotional, spiritual tool, which they're all fast. We have really fast tools because I have no patience. Tracy does, so she does more meditation. I do these other tools. But together, we're like the yin and yang of psychology. It works because we give tools for everyone.
I personally can't wait.
Both brain, no brain. You'll learn. You'll learn that we are energetic beings and we need to train ourselves to create patterns and different beliefs that serve us.
Yes.
Not everything that doesn't serve us, because we've accumulated so much through our lifetime.
So guys out there listening, this is a special offer to you guys. The offer to you is $147 for this 5-week program that's usually sold at $497, and the retail price is $250. Your price today is $147 to this 5-week program. And even before I heard anything about prices, I knew I was going to take this program right after I do the summit. It's on my
bonus meditations.
And there are 4 bonus meditations that you guys should also just tell the listeners about.
Well, we've talked a lot about that loving, compassionate benefactor meditation, and that's one that you'll get so that you can learn it, you can use it. When you use it, you can walk around in your life with your benefactor with you, which creates automatically loving energy around you, and you're in your heart and out of that ego-based mind.
And you can teach it to your partner.
There's also a gratitude bond meditation. With that, you actually get into a heart space, but then you experience how to release anger or resentment at someone and experience forgiveness. It helps let go of the tethering ties. When we hold on to anger of people who may not even be in our life anymore, could be from childhood or 5 years ago, we create a bond where we're tethered to them forever. So you can cut that cord.
And you just let that go. I think must be the most important thing. Let it go, and just
you
can
can't
let it
create
go.
anything new unless you let go of the old.
And the funny thing is that literally only takes seconds, but we struggle with this for so many years. And the actual letting go and the change that I know theoretically, it only takes seconds. I'm not there yet, but I know that it exists. And when it happens, it just happens like this.
You have to be ready to do it. Because people hang on to their anger because they feel anger is their power.
It's addictive, it gives you like alcohol or something. Yeah.
Emotional addiction.
Well,
absolutely.
It's this faulty belief that it makes me powerful. When you truly understand what it feels like to walk around in your heart, you truly understand the only true power is love.
That is the most powerful. So definitely.
Anger is very fueling. It fuels a lot of things. So it's powerful in a very negative way usually.
I can't wait to do the course. I can't wait to just let go.
Be a lot of fun. And we have a community, so you can talk to other people.
There are 2 other meditations. One is the Gratitude Gateway meditation.
Well, we'll let that be a surprise. But I'll just say very quickly that if you wake up in the morning and you open your eyes and you focus on 5 things you're grateful for first thing in the morning, you change your tone for the whole day.
5 things you're grateful for in the morning. Yeah.
Just opening your eyes is something to be grateful for. To be able to see.
Yeah.
You can go from there. But gratitude is so important because it's mostly focusing on real positive things. And it's not thinking about it, it's feeling it. So People don't know the difference between thoughts and feelings, so start focusing first thing in the morning on trying to feel from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking things and feeling things are two different things.
Yeah, and just let go. Don't listen to the chatter. Let it come in and go out.
Don't listen to the chatter that says, "Oh, this is what I should be grateful for." And that's some stuff you really need to feel in your heart. So we have exercises to teach you how to get into your heart.
So you guys out there, this has been made especially for the listeners of Make Love Not War. Click the link in the interview email with this interview in, and you'll see that it is made for you guys. It's in the text. You can read all about the values of it. And it's 4 bonuses included at a value of $59, totaling somewhere around 200 something. So altogether, it's about 700, and it's for you guys at 147. But click the link and read about it. You'll see what's included, and I'm going to be on that journey, and I hope that you'll be on it too.
It's an easy link because it's shiftyourlife.com/make
love. Yes, shiftyourlife.com/make love. It's there.
On our membership site, if anyone cares to join that, we offer support, and we have discussion forums where people can actually talk about struggles or concerns they have with relationships, and we respond to them.
Right, and we have a couple videos a week on that.
And you need that, because we all know that we need to do all these things, but getting them done, you need to be in a program like this. Otherwise, it will just be something you think about and you forget it because you can't implement these habits.
Amanda, we need to do these programs so we can continue to take care of ourselves, because when you're taking care of others all the time, like parents, you need to take care of yourself, but you have to commit.
Yeah, you have to, and that's why you gotta get your wallet out, get your credit card out, and put in that credit card number to start the journey. It's as simple as that.
It could be the best gift you give yourself and your
partner,
relationship.
right?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. This has been great connecting with you all the way from Aarhus, Denmark to North Carolina. Yeah. Amazing. So great. Great to meet you both.
Meet you.
Wonderful to meet you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for now. This is it. I'm going to stop recording now. Bye-bye out there. Bye-bye.